You've done a lot of coaching. You told me about one of your old programmers who you coached and helped, who ended up going on with a couple partners to do like over $1 million a month. What kind of things changed in his mindset to go from where he started to where he is now? The same kind of stuff, overcoming fears and
Yeah, for Henry, it was really interesting. He when he first came, he flew down to Austin and came to one of my seminars, and he had reached out to me online, and really he really went the extra mile to kind of get on my radar, and I was impressed by that. Here's this kid. He was only 19 years old, and straight out of high school, and he's flying to Austin, and he's coming into the bar and sitting down next to me, the night before the seminar, and introduced himself. He's all nervous, and it was hilarious, and he was there in the workshop, and of course I'm so non-technical that I screwed up the projector thing. I think I turned it off or something, and you're not supposed to turn it off, and so blew out the bulb or something. I didn't know what was wrong. And then so I was like, Henry, do you think you can help with this? And I don't know what I'm doing. And he's like looking, and then like 5 minutes, he's like, did you turn this off? I think you blew out the bulb. And then they called the audio, they come out, they put the new bulb, and it was just hilarious. Like, and then we had this huge problem, technical problem with our business, our membership site, and we paid this guy 10 grand to fix it. It was a huge technical nightmare, and the guy just couldn't fix it. I mean, just took a month, and it still wasn't fixed. So Henry came to my office on the bonus day of the workshop, and one of my guys, one of my managers that worked for me, is like, "Hey, I'm gonna see if Henry can fix this." He fixed it in 20 minutes.
what?
20 minutes, and then he showed me what it was, and I was just like, "Oh man, oh god." I was like, "How much do I need to pay you to work for us?" And so then he flew out to Austin he used to live in Orlando, so he flew to Austin, and then he started working for me full time. And he was a rare individual in that he was really good at the technical stuff, but he was also very interested in the visionary stuff. He's very interested in the sales side of things, the marketing, where a lot of really strong technical people are not very big visionary people. There's another book called Rocket Fuel, which is interesting, and it talks about there's two different types of people. There's the integrators, and then there's the visionary people. Well, I'm very much the visionary type of person who's more sales oriented, more animated, all that type of person, more risk taker, shotgun approach, scattergun approach, fly by the seat of my pants. Integrators are more, dialed in. They're more structured, more organized, more analytical, and all that. A lot of technical people tend to be more like that, integrators. And well, Henry's kind of both, and kind of strong. That's a rare type of person. But what really was the breakthrough that I saw in him was, I mean, he was right in the mix of everything that we were doing. So, and he's not the only one that went on to make a lot of money from that crew that worked with me here in Austin in my office. Some other guys like Manish and George and those guys did millions too. But I think if I look back at that, and this is a common question I get too, by the way, from others when they meet those guys, is that what did they do? What made the big difference? What was the big breakthrough? And I think one of the things that was a big breakthrough is they got around me, and by being around me, they realized pretty quickly, if that jackass can do it, I can certainly do it. I think that was the biggest thing of all. It was like, Eric can't even spell, and he's making millions. Like, he can't even spell simple words like there. He messes up his grammar. And like, I remember once we were having a conversation at the end of the night, because we would close at 9 o'clock because it was a call center. So like the sales guys would call like the West Coast, so all the way up till 9 o'clock, and on small businesses and stuff. And so, sometimes I'd be there at 9, and mostly because I looked forward to just chit chatting with these guys, at the end of the night, because it was so fun. And they all wanted to learn from me and ask me questions. So it turned into little mini seminars all the time. And I'd just be standing up in front of the cubicles giving them, lessons and stuff. But one time we were talking about the government, we were talking about, because the economy had crashed, and, everyone was interested about government and money and where money comes from, and, and all that kind of stuff. And Manish, I think, asked a question about the Fed, like the Federal Reserve. And I was like, what do you mean the Federal Reserve? I mean, like, what are you talking about? Like, that's not a private company, it's federal. And he's like, it's not federal. It's not a part of the United States government. So he starts giving me a lesson. I'm like, what? And anyway, I just showed my ignorance about the whole thing. I was like, darn it, why did I get into an intellectual conversation with these guys? But I think they realized that, the reasons I was able to succeed right in front of their eyes was because I'd come up with an idea and then just do it. And they'd see some of the ideas failed, and I would just brush it off. They would be devastated. Oh no, it didn't work. So we got bad news, Eric. And I'd be like, okay, cool. What's the next thing on the whiteboard that we're going to do? That one? Let's do it. It's like, they I think they got that from it, whatever you want to call that. But that, I think they realized that, hey, if Eric can do it and he just does it, he just, no fear, he just throws it out there. If it either sinks or swims, if it sinks, then no big deal, move on to the next thing, or, make it better, make it swim instead of sink, by tweaking it and changing it and making it work. So I think where that kind of comes from is I've seen a lot of morons, including myself, who make millions of dollars. And then I see these other people who are as intelligent with degrees coming out their ears, and they can't make 50 grand a year, and it's like, okay, well, it's not that money is the ultimate measurement of everything, but when it comes to money and success and compensation and all that, intelligence isn't a prerequisite to income. It can help, but it can also hurt more than it can help. And what I think is more important is what we talked about already, which is the courage. So I think that Henry and them saw, all it takes is just some guts to throw it out there, and that's what they've done. And like, I just talked to Henry yesterday, and we have a project that we're going to do. We haven't done anything together in years. I mean, 5 years. It was 5 years ago he started Six Pack Shortcuts, so it's been 5 years that we've done anything together, and we have a new business we're going to work on. We've been working on together. So I talked to him yesterday, and we're like, what are we going to do about this? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, maybe we could do this, or maybe we could do that. And he was like, okay, cool, we'll do that then. Next is what are we gonna call this? And I'm like, I don't know, something Alliance. Oh, okay, cool. We'll come up with something Alliance, and then that'll be the name of it. Should we include a South by Southwest ticket for the attendees, or let them pay for it themselves? I'm like, well, how much are the tickets? And he's like, well, the platinum is $1,500 now, but later on they'll be even more when we get closer to March in Austin. And I'm just like, well, why don't we upsell them to that? And he's like, yeah, we'll upsell. I mean, that's how it went, right? It was like, and whatever was left out that we hadn't decided on went on a piece of paper, and we promised to, decide on that stuff before we meet again next week. So that, and one of them is the name, right? I'm going to come up with 50 names, and that's what I was working on this morning, actually. So that's the way Henry is now, where I don't think he was like that before he got to know me and work with me, because he overthought everything, possibly. So I think that, and then, just kind of seeing really what it takes to turn something into success is actually putting yourself in their shoes. You got to know what they want, like, so the name I'm trying to come up with, I'm thinking about the people that will be in this, it's a high level thing. It's a high level, like, marketers who already do, 6-7 figures. And so I'm like, why would those people come to get in this program and come to this event? I have it all written down right here, like I can even tell you some of them here. They want to come because they want to network with each other. They want to build relationships. They want to have fun, because all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. They want to grow their businesses. They want to joint venture with each other. They want to be around other top, who's who type of people. They want to raise their game, and just a whole list of why these people would come to this. And I'm writing all those down because I want to come up with a name that fulfills that, right? It matches that target customer. Well, that's the same thing that we do when we create a ebook or a product or a video course or a home study course or whatever for our customers is the same thing. We sit down like, what do they want? What do they need? What do they love? What do they hate? Why would they buy this? And so I think Henry's learned that's a very valuable lesson, is to just find an opportunity and fill it, an opportunity gap and fill it. So all in all, I think the main thing was Henry was able to see, and the other guys that worked there, Manish and George and all those guys, I think they were able to see that you don't have to be a genius to make millions, and you can make stupid mistakes, and you can just be a moron, and you can make a lot of cash if you just have the courage to do it. It's just the courage to take the action.
And not get hung up, like I say, like with the perfect name from the get-go. Just keep working on other things and let it all come together. Don't stop just because you hit one unknown.